Hi, Leo. Welcome to your April reading. I know that it's the middle of April. So for those of you that don't know, I had mouth surgery. I had oral surgery a few weeks ago at the beginning of April. Actually, it was at the end of March. It was the last week in March. And I am recovered now, but it took a minute. It took a while. So that's why the April readings are late. It's not because I forgot about anybody. So, this Saturn in Aquarius stuff, I'm wondering if you guys are starting to feel the restrictions in your relationships. And here's the thing, it's not that the Saturn in Aquarius transit for the next 2.5 years. It's just directly across from you, right? Aquarius is the sign that's across from you guys. And it's not about like removing people from your life unless they have to be removed. This doesn't mean that all of your relationships are going to end. It doesn't mean that everything is going to be really bad, but it means that you have decisions to make. It means that you have to allow yourselves to trust your instincts now, because Saturn is going to be restricting the places that no longer serve you, right? This could have to do with a Virgo. You may be wondering what's going on with a Virgo. You may need to really find some answers. If this doesn't have to do with a Virgo, then I feel like you're going a little stir crazy with all this stay-at-home stuff, which makes sense. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. So the cards that came out, we have the Knight of Wands. I'm using the Modern Spellcasters Tarot, by the way, for those of you that are wondering. So we have the Knight of Wands, and we have the Hermit, and we have the Knight of Swords. So if you're arguing with a Virgo right now, I feel like there are decisions that need to be made. If you're either arguing with a Virgo or a Virgo's arguing with you, I feel like there are certain decisions that need to be made between the two of you. We're going to take that card because it just left you over there. Here's the thing, you guys, is here's the thing is I think that because this is such a strong connect, like this does have to do with relationships, and whatever connection you're in, it could be with an air sign or even another fire sign, because we have the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands here. And it's just, you're not entirely sure what to do with this person. And maybe a lot of it has to do with the fact that the other person has sort of shut down and isn't necessarily wanting to talk, or isn't wanting to come to terms with a lot of things that are going on. I feel like your best bet right now, the Nine of Swords, the Six of Wands, and the Nine of Swords. And then we have the Two of Cups here. I almost want to say, because the Six of Wands, yes, it's about victory. Yes, it's about wanting to come together. It's about celebrations. Sometimes it's about marriage. But it's also about rising above. If you're in a circumstance right now where you just can't win, it doesn't feel like you can win in anything, and it's driving you crazy. You're in this Nine of Swords state, and you have a great connection, but you're not entirely sure what to do about it. I feel like this Nine of Swords, we're going to clarify it, but I feel like it was almost self-made. You know what I mean? It was like, what are you overthinking? Why are you overthinking it because you guys are arguing? If you're arguing with the person, now is not the time to argue with people. Now is the time to say, no, I'm done. Like, I'm not arguing with you today. I'm just going to be done with it. I've been talking about in the memberships, I'm doing the daily readings in the memberships, and I've been talking about how like the energetic boundaries that we have to have right now. Like, we can have physical boundaries all day long. Like, we don't have to communicate with other people at all if we don't want to. It's the energetic boundaries that we have to have. And if you need to put some boundaries up because somebody, it's like you want it to work, but there's contention there. That's the feeling that I'm getting with this Nine of Swords. That's why I feel like it's sort of made, like you might have made this Nine of Swords stressed out, overthinking kind of stuff. You know, I feel like you sort of made that happen because everything else is so contentious. Like you want it to work out, right? So let's see what the Knight of Wands is. Because I feel like this is you sort of going back and forth and back and forth. And if it's, you're not sure what to do with it about a person, you have to remember that what is for you will be for you, right? So yeah, see what I mean? The Chariot, and this, you could also be dealing with a Cancer energy, like back and forth, back and forth. I don't know what to do. Or because the person, maybe the person's far away from you. And that's what's the contentious part of all of it is that the person's far away from you. But knowing that, just having the idea and knowing that what is for you will be for you. Like you don't have to fight for things. You don't have to argue about things. You don't have to beg or, you know, like beg for attention or ask for attention or whatever. Because if that person is supposed to be your person, it'll happen, you know? And it's not going to be easy, of course. You have to work on it. Like you have to put yourself out there and you have to allow yourself to put in the effort as well. But at the end of the day, when it's your person, you're going to be able to flow with them. And it won't be a push and pull, push and pull, push and pull, as long as both of you are working together, right? So with this Chariot, I feel like you don't have to, I feel like I can tell you guys that it's going to be okay, that you can calm down and maybe even take a step back and see, like maybe it's time for you to reevaluate your journey. Maybe it's time for you to see where you have been restricted in the past with emotions and relationships. The Two of Swords on the Hermit. I feel like this time where we're all sort of in the stay-at-home mandate order and there's not really much that we can do. You can't like woo a person, you know, you can't be it's hard to be in a relationship when you can't be in a relationship. You know what I mean? So the Two of Swords with the Hermit, just because you don't know the whole story, just because you don't know everything that's going on, doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you have to know the outcome of everything, right? And that Two of Swords is kind of basically saying that you're sort of making decisions blindly, like you're blindly making decisions right now. And that's sort of where I would rather you be than, like, because when you're blindly making decisions, when you're like, okay, I'm going to do this for the person or do this for myself or do this for my journey or, you know, whatever, you know, have this kind of routine or have this, and I'm just doing it through instinct, not knowing what the outcome's going to be, not knowing what's coming down in the future. When you're blindly making decisions like that, that's faith. Because faith isn't hoping that God or the universe or source or whoever it is that is your higher power, faith isn't hoping that they show up. Faith is knowing that that higher power will show up for you. Faith is knowing that what is for you will be for you. And that you don't have to force anything to work. If you feel like you're having to force a relationship or a job or a situation or an outcome, if you're feeling like you have to force it, Knight of Swords, that is a forceful energy. If you feel like you have to force it, then it's not for you. If you feel like you, yeah, see what I mean? It's like it needs to be a loving act. It doesn't need to be a forceful act. The Knight of Cups on the Knight of Swords. And maybe if you feel like you're in a relationship that's going too fast, even, which would be really strange. I feel like it would be strange to have a relationship that's moving too quickly during this time frame. Like, what does that look like? You know what I mean? Like, what does that look like? No, I don't even know. But the Knight of Cups on the Knight of Swords is telling me that things need to slow down for you. I feel like there's this, like, I don't want you to force the love, because the love will flow. The real true love will flow. The forcing of it doesn't need to happen. Let's see what the Six of Wands is. I feel like the Six of Wands was picked for you at the bottom of the deck when I just moved the cards. It got stuck underneath the corner of the table. So I feel like it was picked for you instead of you picking it, you know? So, and to me, I think the biggest fear is that you're worried it's not going to work out. I feel like you are more scared that it's not going to work out. And that's what Saturn is going to be restricting you on with this energy in Aquarius. You know, being an Aquarius, we not only feel restricted as a society, but Leos are being restricted in the relationship sector. And that can be Leo energy across the board. Like, I'm a Leo Mercury and I'm feeling it very hard to communicate in relationships right now. And I'm like, oh my God, is this the way it's going to be for 2.5 years? I'm a Virgo. I need to communicate. But I feel like there's a restriction. It's almost like I'm invisible sometimes. Does that make sense to you? So so you have to look in your own chart, because it may not just be your sun sign. Being a Leo, you might have a Leo Venus or a Leo Mercury. That's going to be affected by that Saturn in Aquarius energy as well in your 7th house. So, and also it actually really depends on what house it is, depending on your rising sign or where your rising sign is in your chart. So really take a look at your chart and see where that restriction is going to be, not just with your sun sign or your rising sign or your moon sign or whatever. The Devil on the Six of Wands. And here's the thing, is Saturn is actually working for you. Maybe there's a Capricorn energy that is also bringing a little bit of victory in your life. Maybe this is work. Maybe you're feeling really good with work. But this could also be those karmic lessons, these Saturnian lessons that, you know, that are being brought to, but having the Six of Wands here with that Devil energy is saying that you will be, like, it's going to be fine. You will be victorious and allow, but you have to allow those lessons, you know, with these lessons, if you learn them, I feel like it doesn't have to be so hard, you know, like we think of Saturn and having to learn lessons and we go, oh, but we always are learning lessons. That's how we grow. That's how we evolve. Ooh, I love it. See, the end of the stress, the end of the overthinking. You don't have to do that. I feel like there's a cycle that's ending here to kind of take away that stress. The World on the Nine of Swords. Something is definitely ending. It doesn't have to be the actual relationship, but there's some part of your life that, what is the fear? You know, what are you scared of with this? Whoa. And having to ask yourself that, okay, we'll look at it. Oh, there you are. I was wondering when you were going to show up. So we have the Queen of Wands. This is what fell out, and then I'll look over here and flip this around. So we have the Queen of Wands, the Page of Cups, the Eight of Swords, and the Nine of Pentacles. Here's the thing. So for some of you who are in like an early relationship or a relationship with somebody who's far away from you, or you know, not in a relationship and you're totally single, I feel like these 4 cards that came out together, there's a fear of you being alone. Like there's a fear of you having to do life alone. And I think that that's really scary for you right now. And I can understand where that, sorry, my hair's driving me a little crazy at the moment. Let me just fix this really quick. But I feel like with that fear that's happening of you being alone forever, I don't want you to force something because you're afraid to be alone. Does that make sense? Because when we are focused on not, you know, when we're focused on, I want to be with somebody so I'm not alone, you're focusing on the wrong thing. You want to be focused on the person that's going to love you for who you are. And if you are scared of not finding that person, you're going to settle. You know what I mean? You'll just be like, all right, well, I'll just stay with this person who doesn't really make me feel very good about myself anyways, and they never really have, but they're there. You know what I mean? Like you can't settle anymore. This is not a time for you to settle for things in life just because they merely exist. Oof. I love it. All right. So there could be a Sagittarius. This could be a Sagittarius energy too that you're dealing with. But Temperance on the Two of Cups. I love that that was the last card that I flipped over. You guys. Okay. Balancing, because Temperance isn't just about being patient. And I'm not going to tell you guys to be patient. I'm going to tell you guys to flow. There's a difference between the two. Because being patient requires a level of mental capacity that you guys just cannot have right now. Allowing things to flow and being temperate, right? Allowing things to flow and letting the universe bring it to you in the fashion and the time and the necessity that you actually need it, where you're balanced, right? And your heart and your mind are in tune with each other. And that's when the love shows up. That's when the soulmate shows up. And if you already know who this person is, stop overthinking it. Yes, you guys are going to have lessons in your relationship. Yes, there are going to be some things that are going to be really difficult for you to have to go through during a quarantine if you can't be together. If you are in quarantine with your spouse or with your person, your partner, whoever it is, right? And you guys are driving each other crazy, take a time out, right? But allowing yourself to go to the fear that, oh my God, if I don't stay with somebody that makes me miserable, then I'll be alone forever. Like maybe this is my last chance. It's not. It's not. Trust me, it's not. All right, let's look at the bottom of the deck. Ooh, Seven of Swords. All right, what's this? Okay. See, and here's the thing, is I do feel like for some of you, you might have been betrayed by an earth sign, by either a Capricorn, a Virgo, maybe even a Taurus. But we have the King of Pentacles, we have the Three of Cups. And this isn't going to be for everybody. I feel like this is a small amount of you, that the ones that are really worried about like, oh my gosh, am I going to stay with this person who hurt me tremendously, or am I going to I'm going to be on my own forever? We have the Three of Swords, we have the Page of Swords, and the Seven of Swords. Something came out. It feels like there was some kind of information that came out, or, in the last, the last 2 weeks of April. If it hasn't come out yet, it might. But I feel like there's, somebody feels betrayed, and it definitely feels like a third-party situation with this Three of Cups and Three of Swords coming out together. So for some of you, you're feeling very betrayed by an earth sign. For some of you, you're really concerned because you've been betrayed by an earth sign that you might be alone forever. For some of you, it has absolutely nothing to do with that, with either one of those. And you're just learning some lessons within your partnership. And so that's going to be a broad scale. But remember, always stay true to yourself. And if you continuously remind yourself that the universe is going to give you what you need in life, right? And that includes the people around you as well. So allow yourself to feel comforted by that. And I'm not doing personal readings right now, but if you guys need a little bit of extra help during this time, doing a lot of stuff for the members of the channel, I actually just added Discord, which is like a server, an app, a server that you can, so we can all chat together, the members of the channel. But if you would like to become a member, you get so many extras. I'm doing the daily readings there. So it's like you get something daily by becoming a member. And the memberships start at $6.99 and up. Of course, the top tier gets the meditations and the workshops and all of that stuff. So totally up to you, whatever it is that you can do at this time. No pressure. I'm not pushing the memberships or anything like that. I just want to let you guys know that that is a resource if you need it. And I love you, and take really good care of yourselves. And if you need me, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, anywhere. I love you. Have a good April. Bye.